Alfred learns that these backhoes are in fact not
loyal.
And then linked to Chris Brown. These hoes.
Yeah.
And that dude who he was watching, which I'm sure there are real videos like that.
I look for it on YouTube, and that channel doesn't actually exist, but there's backhoe tutorial.
That's kind of stuff Lance watches. Not about backhoes, but similar things like changing shit on cars or like grilling beef, doing brisket, and everybody has their little catchphrase. And most of them are from Louisiana. And all of them are white men who I suspect are actually light-skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Rappin Atlanta. I'm Nita Sharice.
And I'm Nikki.
And in this podcast, we have a frank, honest, and open conversation about the FX show Atlanta.
We have noticed that there are similar features in each show, and during our discussion, we offer our impressions on what those features are. There's a That's So Atlanta moment in each episode that most clearly and accurately depicts the spirit or quirk that is Atlanta and life in the American South.
Dariusisms highlight the special flavor the character Darius brings to the show because he is easily one of the most layered, complex, and compelling characters on television.
There always seems to be a mystical element or some strange thing that happens beyond all logical reason and sometimes scientific explanation. We've all experienced those kinds of moments.
And finally, the SGR moment is very plainly the moment in each show when shit got real and we are reminded that life is not a game and desperation has the power to motivate any and every possible action.
Today we're reviewing Season 4, Episode 9, Andrew Wyeth, Alfred's World, written by Taofik, Kolade, and Donald Glover, and directed by Hiro Murai. Alfred discovers the dangers and threats of living on his safe farm. Your initial thoughts?
I get it.
That's all you got?
No. I got a little more. I enjoyed seeing Al in this environment. It's a different environment than we've gotten to see him in. Yes, everybody, I'm aware that he was in the woods before, but like we've been saying for the last couple of seasons, he's on this different level. You know, he's on this farm. It's of his own doing. Everything is his, like as far as we know. And it looks like someone who is a city boy, you know, but he is attempting to be self-sufficient and be like a wilderness type of man or like a. And it was good to just see him in a different light. But I have to say, for me, and I hate saying this because I almost never criticize this show because I think it is a perfect show, but I just needed more. I am sure you're going to probably say some things and I'll be like, I did not think of it that way. Okay. But for the most part, you know, give me a nemesis in a neighboring farm. Give me a pig that is talking. It's Atlanta. That's out of the realm. There was an invisible car in the first season. Just a little more. But I mean, Brian Tyree Henry is such a great actor, you know, with his face and such that it was still compelling enough. I drew some of my own conclusions that I'm sure that we'll get into, but it was just it was real quiet, y'all. Because even when Ern, Van, and Lil Lottie were in the woods, it was the three of them. And there were some things that we could see happening, but I want it out of this bottle.
I think I like this episode because it captured Black Boy Joy. And so it gave us the opportunity to see Alfred it was for the most part a safe space, like mentally, psychologically. It was a safer space where initially he didn't feel like he had to be looking over his back or looking over his shoulder, watching out for danger, somebody to run up and rob him or knock him in the head. He didn't have that concern, and he was free to pursue his own interests in his own time. This is exciting because we're seeing a Black man out in the wilderness doing whatever the fuck he wants and not being harmed by somebody else.
Wow! Oh, you didn't catch me. There you go. He's smiling.
Doing? We frolicking? Okay. We frolicking, baby. So they're encouraging Black men to frolic.
Let's go to the top of the show. Top of the show, he's out in the woods. We realize he's on his safe farm. He's practicing shooting. He's completely alone, ignoring all phone calls and messages from the outside world. He's in flip-flops, which I would not suggest, but he's comfortable. He's not in shoes or boots getting ready to run like niggas in New York. And then the next scene, he's taking his time getting back to his house after shooting. He notices this abandoned backhoe in the woods. We get a wider shot of this property. He has his own pond. He's got his grow house for his marijuana. And the part I loved is his close-up of his hands on the plants. He's getting a chance to connect with nature, and he's at peace. And he looks happy. He does not look stressed out. And then, we see that there's like a little animal that's gotten into his grow house. So then we go to the next scene where he's pulling up, and it's his lone black truck. I love that. It's his black truck. It shows his individualism out in this country that's full of rednecks, probably, because he's the only Black man in the store. But he gives the other customer a look. The customer isn't actually staring at him. He's just kind of shopping. And so Alfred is actually able to take off that notion, like, I got to be watching out for, yeah.
I wasn't, though. I still had the notion. I still did not feel that Alfred was safe. I kept waiting for the other shoe or assault rifle to drop. I just kept waiting, like, okay, we're doing close-ups on these guns because it's later on going to be used on him, because I am not used to seeing this. Like I told you with the other episode, Black people in woods does not make me feel serene ever. It's like, you're running from somebody. Or even if you're not, you have to prove to somebody that you were in fact not running from someone and do not need to be returned to anyone. Or, somebody's going to run up on you while you're in your tent. Like, I was tense for most of this episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah. After they showed his hands with the plants, and then I wasn't tense. I just felt like, oh, he found his separate piece. That
aligns though with what is a regular thing for you. And for me, I'm like, it's like, I'm Black in America and in the American South, and I am not near nature in this way. So I'm like, nah, it's never peaceful for us for too long. So seeing his hand on a plant, all I was thinking was like, I like Brian Tyree Henry's hands, and I like the contrast of those colors. And there are TikToks with men with plants. And this is making me think about that. Maybe I should go and look at those TikToks or whatever. Oh no, pay attention to the show. I was looking at things like, oh, Brian Tyree Henry is cute. He's very tall. Oh, look at his little face. I know what he looks like when he was a little boy. Watch your back.
I think that
you, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, come along, and then it's like, oh, this is peaceful. I do know someone who is in fact peaceful in the woods. Even though every time you call me, I'm like, what's wrong? Who's chasing you? I'm a product of this country, goddammit.
Yeah. Again, like I said about the other episode, this is revolutionary. Like how many other shows have we seen on TV where there's a Black man in the woods and he's not about to get lynched? And
right.
his only enemy was nature and his own ignorance about backhoes, as it were.
Now, I have a good question for you though. You just mentioned he walks into the store and he wasn't being stared at. I'm like, I have it running now. But when he walked into the store and he saw that one customer, which, you know, I don't know what that customer was, whether he was Asian or like Latinx or both, but he is looking at him crazy. And then Alfred like looks at him, the guy goes out of frame and Alfred like shakes his head and sighs. So it seemed like that person, it almost looked like this person is looking at me the way I would expect the white customers to look at me. And Alfred like looks at him. He goes out of frame, and Alfred kind of like turns because the guy like eyes him down as if, you know, like the way you would expect someone that doesn't look like him to do. So I'm wondering if that was a comment on that. Like, okay,
I got a chance to watch it 3 times, and I actually paused to see, like, is this guy looking at Alfred? It looked to me like he was looking at the stick in his hand because he was shopping. He seemed to be shopping for some sort of wood. I think it's called a dowel, a wooden dowel. And it looked like he was just shopping and he held out the dowel and Alfred looked and the guy looked at him like, what are you looking at? You know, because I'm sure.
And then Alfred goes, because the caption came up, sighs. And he's like shaking his head. So I don't know, like, was he shaking his head at himself?
Yeah, I did pause that part and I was just like, was this guy really looking at him? And I just didn't get that.
Maybe Al was even like telling himself, like, calm down, like they're not looking at you. Maybe.
Yeah, I got that. Definitely goes. Yeah, I got that sense he was probably like checking himself, like, no, this is not the same. This is not the same situation. Okay. What I found funny about this scene is his interaction with the shopkeeper, because he's like, did you see it on the shelf? Well, then we probably don't have it in stock. Like, he's smart ass.
Yeah, he's asking to get knocked upside his head.
Yeah.
But then he did offer to order it. So my thing was, okay, well, say that then. Like, stop being a dick. Like,
well, he did offer to look it up. He checked back stock, which was a sheet of paper, not physically going into wherever he kept his back stock or inventory. We don't have it, but he said it was going to take 2 weeks to order. And that reminded me, like, rural shops probably do have beef with Amazon because of delivery issues and just getting out to those parts where there's not regular delivery like in the city.
So he's like, you gonna order off Amazon, which is funny because I thought in my head Alfred just ordered off Amazon, and then he said that, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I would just order off Amazon too. I'll include a link in the show notes how Amazon is trying to make up for the issues they have in rural communities by partnering with rural shops.
I guess they try.
Yeah, it's a brave new world for Amazon in the rural parts of this country. So then in the next scene, so Alfred goes, he picks up, he asked for bug repellent or rodent?
He said animal repellent, like a true city boy. I was like, that's very broad, Al. Super broad. And Brian Tyree Henry is doing what he does best, which is just silently seethe. Because the guy's like, nope. And just kind of like taking his time. And I was just like, he's so good at that. Like, dude, are you ever like calm? He's like, he's always at the edge of like, you got one more again. Like the minute he wakes up. But I love it. And then that's when they cut to that sign that says, we don't call the police. And you gave me a little insight onto that very frightening sign.
Yeah, they don't call the police. Well, they're selling ammunition there and all kinds of hardware and stuff like that. And yeah, if you start trying to posture like you're about to rob the place, I'm sure he will pull out his gun and shoot you, and maybe call the police after the fact to come pick up your dead body. Yeah, it is what it is.
I feel like we should drop a link to like some of the bounce songs that says, who that called the police? Them hoes called the police. That's all I say. I'm not explaining anymore.
All right. So we will link to that. Thank you for noting that. So next scene, Alfred begins working on that backhoe. He's watching this YouTube show, These Backhoes Ain't Loyal.
Genius.
Yes.
And true.
Yeah, the instructional video does indeed provide a warning on the dangers of working with farm equipment. In 2020, 368 farmers and farm workers died from work-related injury, resulting in a fatality rate of 18 deaths per 100,000 workers.
Jesus.
So transportation incidents, which include tractor overturns, were the leading cause of death for these farmers and farm workers.
Wow.
Again, I love that Alfred had the freedom to take on a random pet project like repairing a backhoe.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is when he came in, he's cooking for himself. So I'm like, where's Darius? Darius is not on the same farm with him?
No, which is why, I mean, he was cooking pretty basic things, right? Like, what was he cooking the first time? Like, I know at the end it was bacon. But, you know, I guess he needs Darius because Darius will give him sliders and cookies and things like that.
Ice cold sliders.
He looks like he's chopping garlic. So he's
Cooking.
preparing seasoning and things like that. A little pasta. And he's even like doing the salt bake thing. Like
the salt baits.
I expected to see like the little sprinkles, the little sparkles. Yeah, it is a nice scene. And it just seems like really homey and quiet. But it also gave me horror movie vibes too. You know, like you're doing something and then he hears something and he's looking, he's going out and checking. That's why like I was tense. Like that ratcheted up the tension for me. Even though we knew that like some animal had gotten to it, I expected it because it is Atlanta. At any moment to just go off the rails into something else. Like he opens the door and it's him sitting there with like the goofy hat on again. And then, you know, he's hot. He's still in Amsterdam. These people have ruined me for regular linear storytelling.
Sorry.
Yeah, they have. So, yeah.
Okay. So what happens next?
He's like going in to investigate the noise because we see the shot of the door. Like looks like he hears banging. Sees the shot of the door. He goes in and he's got his gun and all his little plants are all like topsy-turvy. And that made my heart hurt because that's like a lot of work and everything's around. He steps in the most disgusting looking shit. Little shit balls.
Yeah, little shit balls.
It was disgusting. It was like little meatballs.
Yeah. And again, I'm just like, why don't you invest in some boots, not the flip-flops?
Yeah. And I think are those Gucci flip-flops? They look like Gucci. Come on, Al. And so now he's showing pictures of the shitballs to his best friend at the shop, who's just as unconcerned as he was the day before. This dude has seen some things, like nothing gets him riled up, you know? And yeah.
You do see a lot of things out in the wild, and I think that's the problem with a lot of us, you know, born in this modern times. We're very much disconnected to the earth and nature and animals within it, and we forget that we're not on this earth by ourselves, you know, protected by steel skyscrapers and paved streets. Outside of that, there's the wilderness and all of the life that comes with it. And we're actually on their land, you know, really. And
we're like, ew, like, what are they doing? And they're just like, ew, like, right. That's what we would like to know.
Yeah. So when the shopkeeper tells him about feral hogs, and he kind of laughs it off, but then the shopkeeper's like, no, a woman in Texas got killed. And that really happened. Jesus. The woman was Black. I'll post a link in the show notes. She was a Black woman, Christine Rollins, 59. She was feet away from the front door when she was killed. It was only the 5th documented fatal wild hog attack in the country since 1825. So it doesn't happen often.
What does she do with hogs?
She was just coming home from work or whatever. She stepped out of the car, locked it, prepared to head into the house. Oh, and she was a caretaker for an older couple, so she was going to work, but she was attacked by a herd of feral hogs shortly after, before she could get to the door.
Wow.
She's just going in to take care of some people, and she ends up attacked by hogs, and no, it's not normal.
Them people set them hogs on her. Are the people white?
Girl, I don't know. Like,
they set them hogs on her. And she's like, I just changed your catheter. And then they attacked her.
Well, if there's any sense of fairness in the world, they're probably both dead by now, because this happened a few years ago. So maybe the pandemic got them.
There's no sense of fairness. This
Okay.
is He was known for her compassion, the sheriff said, relaying a story of when Mrs. Rollins drove over from another town to feed the couple when the wife got sick. Neglecting her own duties. What does this sound like? Come on now.
It reminds me of the woman in the other episode. Like the Caribbean caregiver. She was Trinidadian.
I don't know how I remember that, but I think it was Sylvia. But I don't know. You know, in the New Testament, when Jesus came and the man was like going crazy because he was like possessed.
And he cast the demons into the hogs.
There are just too many. There are millions of wild hogs in Texas. Fuck Texas. Though they are rarely violent towards humans unless they have been summoned. It doesn't say that, but I'm reading between the lines. Texans mostly encounter them when animals have uprooted a flower bed or damaged crops or have been told to by their owners. They can become aggressive if they feel trapped, or if a female hog is defending her offspring. Most weigh about 200 pounds. And they protect her as a threat. So they're racist feral hogs? Aren't they black too?
Well, no, because it says later in the article that feral hogs descended from European wild boars, which were first brought to Texas in the 1500s.
So colonizing pigs.
Yeah, the pigs were colonized.
I'm sorry.
He continues working on the backhoe. At one point, he sees that there's a dead rat trapped in the air filtration system.
Oh, so disgusting.
Why he pulls it off without any gloves, like,
Yeah, I don't understand Alfred sometimes. Like,
he's a boy, because my boys be touching all kinds of crazy shit and without fear.
Except that Alfred is a man.
And now a word from an exclusive Rappin' Atlanta sponsor.
Amazing Grace. What's wrong, baby? Why can't you hit that note? Oh, Grandma, my throat hurts. I tried everything. Tea with honey, tea with lemon, tea, even cough drops. Well, that's the problem, baby. You've tried everything but the right thing. Well, what's the right thing? Child, I'm glad you asked. You need my Grandma Sadie's soothing throat lozenges. Her lozenges are a mainstay in the Black community. Why, it's made from a secret recipe, and it's been saving church solos and civil rights protests for generations. It'll coat your throat and soothe your soul. Oh, thank you, Father. Okay, I'll take 2. Sadie's Soothing Throat Lozenges is made with a secret family recipe that includes a little love, some perseverance, and a whole lot of hot sauce. In just 30 minutes, you'll be ready to either make a joyful noise unto the Lord or scream at Whitey till freedom come. Well, how do you feel, child? Amazing Grace. I feel, well, amazing. Thank you, Grandma. Oh, baby, don't thank me. You need to thank your great-grandma Sadie. Thank you, great-grandma Sadie. Sadie's Soothing Throat Lozenges. Don't you let your solo go to hell.
He succeeds in he's successful in fixing the backhoe. He repairs the whole he repairs the door on the grow house, and then he sets a trap for the hogs, but then ends up falling asleep on the couch, and the hogs just eat the weed and go. So they're stoner hogs too,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, they're like looking, I don't know, they're doing their own little Pineapple Express right now.
Yes. When we come back, he returns again to the backhoe. He succeeds in getting the backhoe started and rides around his property triumphantly. There's Outcast playing. I don't understand how he managed to get that backhoe stuck on the cliff. Like, why he would steer it in such a way to where the wheel fell off that edge. And I don't get why when he's inspecting the problem, why he would stand in front of it when it's teetering like that. There's no fucking
experience though, right? To me, it seems like he has no self-awareness, like no awareness of just like how far it is from the cliff or where he's actually stopped it. The fact that it is teetering, he's treating it like you would treat, like, I'm in my driveway, I'm working on my car, like something that I'm sure that he's done many times before. So he's very, very confident in that. Like he's comfortable in his body. He knows that there's no cliff, but now he's in unfamiliar surroundings, but he's acting like it's the same thing. It literally almost doesn't, it looks like he doesn't even realize like there's a cliff. Like he very well could have just walked off the side. He's treating it like what he is familiar with. And he doesn't have that attitude of somebody that like doesn't know, even though it's so obvious that he doesn't know. And there's arrogance because the man is like trying to tell him about these hogs. He doesn't just kind of shrug it off. He like laughs in that man's face to where I was like, he's going to shoot him in the face because they don't call the police. Because I'm still ticked. Like, get away from this little man. Like the man is probably harmless, but the man looks like, all right, nigga, you think you know? You know, like he's just acting like he's at home. And he's just not. Like, I don't know. I don't think he'll ever do it again. You know, like by the end, I feel like, okay, Al, we know is hard-headed. He doesn't listen to anybody. He's one of those people that has to get knocked upside the head. And then he will follow what you told him. He could have just got knocked upside the head, but he's hard-headed.
Okay. So the irony of all of what you just said is that when Africans were brought to this country and enslaved and eventually became yours and my ancestors, they were the ones most knowledgeable about animals, their behaviors, how to grow things properly, how to mend things, how to fix things, how to steer clear of all these dangers without getting killed, how to hunt and forage and survive in the wilderness by themselves. They had all of this knowledge. And then as we moved into the cities just to try to make a dignified living, we lost all of that knowledge. You know, we lost all that knowledge in being urbanized. And so I appreciate getting the chance to go back and reconnect with that knowledge that we had, which is why our ancestors were brought here in the first place.
Yeah, because who took the knowledge? Like, where did the knowledge go? It went to benefit them.
Yes.
You know? And then also simultaneously to make us think that we don't know nothing about that. And this is country and that's white folks. And it's like, no, it really isn't. All the way down to like cowboys.
Yes.
Like,
Cowboys were black.
Being a white man, you would be called a cow hand. And I grew up thinking that the reverse was true, that cowboy was boss and cow hand was assistant, not realizing, well, they never referred to black men as men. Black men were boys and we were girls, which I suspect is why we call each other girl, but that's neither here nor there. But still, like that is all by design. Like, it's what we always say. It's what you've been saying for the last couple of days about just like how you like siphon off the brilliance. You know, it's kind of like suck everything out and then you're kind of just a husk and then you're killed.
Yeah.
You know? So, and like, why were we urbanized? We were fleeing. Okay. We were fleeing what we were doing before because it's like, I don't want no more of that type of work because we were doing it against our will and with no benefit to us and our family and our descendants. So of course we're going to want to like, oh no, I'm better than that. I'm going to go, you know, to the city. And they leave and, you know, and now the city is a bad place to be. It is the ghetto. It, you know, it's bereft of like any kind of tax base. It's just the whole cycle to where we are now rediscovering like, oh no, we did this shit. We know how to swim, we know how to fish, how to hunt. A lot of what have taken up the mantle they learned from our ancestors. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay.
And that's
this episode a little bit more.
Yeah, that's why I love this episode. That because it's spurring this type of conversation about who we truly are and what we are truly capable of. So, anyway, we come to this part. Alfred Alfred has the backhoe fall on him. And I'm just like, shit, Alfred gets killed. This rap guy ends up getting killed by a damn backhoe on his safe farm, you know. But
at least it would be one less story about him getting shot.
About a rapper getting shot, yes.
Don't want Al to die, but this would be a little twist. So...
And I just want to get we're filming this right after Takeoff of Migos was killed.
Yes.
So very sad. He's having a huge funeral, like a stadium-sized funeral, because he was very much loved.
Wow, really?
Recently. Yeah, I'll put in the show notes. Which brings us to the next few scenes, which provides an explanation of why the episode is entitled this way. Andrew Wyeth was a famous naturalist artist. I am connected to his website in the show notes. He has this picture called Christina's World. And in the picture, she's...
it's called Christina? That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny considering that Christina Rollins. Yeah. So it's called Christina's World. And there's a scene in the episode where Alfred is kind of laying like Christina does in the painting, and he can see his house. And it's just so reflective of the painting. Yeah. The Wyeth's neighbor, Anna Christina Olsen, inspired the composition, which is one of 4 paintings by Wyeth in which she appears. As a young girl, Olsen developed a degenerative muscle condition, possibly polio, that left her unable to walk. So after Alfred has his backhoe fall on him, he is injured. His foot is injured, and he is hobbled. So he has to drag himself back to his farmhouse, and it takes him hours upon hours to get there. He reaches it by nightfall, just as the Amazon delivery person is.
Yes. And then he's like, I know you see me, bitch. It's like, no, Al, I don't think she saw you, man.
No, she's got on her headphones.
She's got her earbuds in, like, I hate my job, but I'm going to get through. Let me back. Whoa.
But it's, it also how everything worked out, where he makes it to his front door. The skillet arrives there. He did not have to take that skillet out of the package just then and there, but it's a good thing that he did, because then the feral hawk comes up, makes eye contact with him and attacks, and poor Paperboy is just wrestling this feral hog and successfully kills him with a skillet. And I haven't been in so many situations just where things have just lined up in such a way where, like it all works out in my favor, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy how that happens, but he survives. And then finally, after he drags himself into the kitchen and he's laying on the floor, the phone rings, and he realizes that I can't be alone. I do need help. Let me take my cousin's call.
Yeah.
Doesn't give him any fucking information about what just happened. He could have died in more ways than one.
But he did the same thing in the other episode with the Crank That Killer. They're like, hey, Al, how was your day? He didn't tell them that he almost died, that somebody chased him through the mall. He's just like, it was cool. Just like they also did not tell him that they watched someone get killed right after they kissed to get Nikes.
Yes.
They didn't tell each other anything. All of them could have died.
Yeah. And
they would have been horrible witnesses or next of kins for the detectives that would have shown up. And like, oh no.
We're gonna say nothing.
I don't know. I don't want them to know that I was kissing. Like, they're insane. Like, he's just like, yeah, all right, let me get my bacon and my whiskey. Yeah.
Yes. So he gets up. Now, how he wrestled that feral hog into the trash can, I do not know.
He wants to live. He wants to live. Just despite everything that I've wondered about him and like how sad he is, like, how does he really feel about his life? You know, like we've had those discussions. I think we've shown like Al is not ready to go anywhere, and he fought for his life. Now, but when we were like kind of reading up on feral hogs and how they attack people who are a perceived threat, this proves that those goddamn hogs are racist, because how was he a threat and he was on the ground and that feral hog made eye contact with him? There's a threat, a big black nigger, and then attacked him. Full circle. Full circle. They're racist. And them old people set them hogs on that woman.
Okay. And
if they do, the hogs just separate from the people are just racist and just attack that woman.
The link is in the show notes. Read it for yourself. Rappin' Atlanta fans. You tell us. Yeah, the hogs racist or not? We believe
we already know.
Okay.
So y'all can tell us, but we know, and we are agreed.
Okay.
This man was on the ground, visibly incapacitated, and you're like, oh, he's a threat. You got all 4 of your legs. Not only do your legs work, but you have 2 more than him. Really 3 more, because his other leg is barely working, and he's a threat.
Maybe the hog, since that Alfred did not like him, has been wanting to kill him and is eager to get rid of this fucking
new in his shit though. These hogs are fucking crazy. Yeah. And racist. I think it's a metaphor for the redneck, except their necks are black.
Okay. Or, I mean, being that we call police pigs anyway. And that's the other thing. So remember, in the first season, there was cops in almost every episode.
Yes.
They were interacting with cops. I don't think there has been any interaction with law enforcement during this 4th season.
I don't think so. Well, they escaped it in Light Skin when their own fucking auntie called the cops, but they didn't have to interact. The girl was like, don't turn around. So they were there.
Yeah, there were no...
Like, why would you call the cops on your black nephew? It's like, what's wrong?
But yeah, but Alfred, Darius, at no point do they actually have to interact with any cops. There's no probation officers to go to. They don't go to jail. They don't have to get bailed out of jail. Remember, Alfred got bailed out of jail even in Europe, but he didn't have that experience.
Yeah, because he was in Europe and he was in a dorm room, and they were like, what else would you like? Would you like to take a nap? Yeah, that wasn't prison. That was not jail. That was a spot. I wanted to go to jail. I'm like, can I shoplift? Will I go to that jail? I need a break.
And so did Al in that episode too, because he time.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh my God. The realizations are like exploding everywhere. We've got pigs and feral descended from European civilizations, which is basically where the police force came from. I mean, oh my God. I said that this episode was sparse and there wasn't a lot there, but thank you, my sister, for showing me that there's actually lots of content. And it boils down to white people be white people. And we haven't said that one in a while.
Yeah. But this is what we do. This is what we do together.
Yeah, no one else does. No one else. No.
Yeah. So anyway, next scene, Alfred's sitting on his porch and he has made himself a breakfast of bacon and whiskey. He's enjoying it. The hogs in the trash. We said again, he doesn't tell Ern exactly how he got hurt. We're not sure why that Band-Aid is on his forehead because he didn't seem to be bleeding from his forehead before, but whatever. That gives Ern the reason to ask, like, what happened to your face? He kind of brushes it off. But then Ern again explains how dangerous farms are. And I will include the link in the show notes to the CDC's report on farming accidents and how often they happen. And
this is why you have farm hands. Surround yourself with people who know what they're doing. And if you want to learn to speak, Al just refuses to have people with him. He doesn't want any witnesses to his death. He just doesn't.
I want him to have a long life. I want him to be one of those rappers that has like that stays in the game for 30 and 40 years, like LL Cool J and Run DMC and Ice Cube.
Yeah. You know what those niggas have? Security and shit. That's why they're still here. You're a black man. You're being hunted by feral pigs, apparently.
Aren't we all being hunted by feral pigs in a way? So, okay. I love how Ern also explains how Black people can get sunburned because skin cancer does kill Black people as well. I love how Alfred calls Seal a kiss from the rose.
Yes. Because we call people by the titles of the properties that they have been in. Whole titles for that one person. A Kiss from the Rose Jackson. You know what I'm talking about. And the other Black person always knows exactly what you're talking about. And doesn't correct anything.
We know how to. We know.
I love it so much.
So I will include a link in the show notes about Black people getting sunburned, because all y'all need to be aware that you should go out with sunscreen and protection, because you can get like melanin doesn't protect you from all of the
I don't
harmful
know why we think that we are. That is the one place we have our confidence that we shouldn't. Like we are not actually. I used sunscreen and got sunburned still. I put it all over me. I'm the mother, the one that's spraying children who do not belong to me, that always just has an endless supply. And I got burned. I still have across my back marks from the back of my suit. It was like a drawstring thing. I almost took my suit off and gave lots of children and adults an education because I wanted to make sure that I got it on. Still sunburned. Yes, I'm sure people at Orange Beach remember me because it was almost where, look, you're going to see it at some point. Your white son will see these brown titties at some point. Anyway, I still got sunburned and I slathered it on me. So yeah, we can get sunburned. Sorry. And then Ern, I just like how Ern said, like, farms are like one of the most dangerous places. And it's like, but this is supposed to be a safe farm. State Farm, safe farm. Like, what was it that guy said? That was like the safe.
Like a good nigga, Safe Farm is there.
Yeah. Like, I just need Al to just listen. He has resources and a support system around him that he just refuses to use until it's too late. And always answer Ern's calls. Ern is always calling with good, meaningful shit. He's never calling with like what I believe that Darius will be calling with. Like, the fifth star spoke to me yesterday and it said to go south. Like, that's the kind of shit that Darius would be calling to say. Ern shit is always like, oh, I needed to know this yesterday. Answer your cousin's calls, please. And also, Ern looks really cute on the phone. He looks very handsome.
He's cute on it. I love
They're all cute. They're all handsome.
I like when he finally decides to talk to him, and he feels de-stressed once he talks to Ern. So it's just like, I understand having to get away and off by yourself. I believe in having a separate piece, but we also need each other. You know, we need our family, we need our friend to remind us of who we are, to give us support and advice when we're going in the wrong direction and we need to be put back in the right path. And because it's very easy, as you were referencing before, we've been talking all weekend with each other because it's Nita Sharice's birthday just passed. So she's 25, which is a
yes, girl.
Yes.
25, finally 25. My life can finally begin. I'm so excited about all that I have in front of me.
Yeah.
Will I have kids? I don't know. Will I get married? Who's to say?
Anything could possibly happen. But yeah, like oftentimes out in this wilderness, out in the wild, we'll get isolated and surrounded by people who mean to do us harm, by people in situations that need to do us harm. So it's very important that we keep a tether, a connection, a line, a bond with those people who reinforce who we are, with each other. So whoever is close to you, keep them close. Appreciate them in the here and now. Any of us could be gone tomorrow, but appreciate the people in your lives here and now, because they are who keep you strong in who you are. And I think I hope that's the lesson that Al learned in this situation. But who knows?
It's the one that we learned. I'm gonna miss this show. I'm going to miss this show. I really am.
I am gonna miss the show. This is the penultimate episode of the whole series.
I take back what I said about this episode not having anything. You fooled me, guys. You fooled me. Maybe I wasn't in the right space to receive it. But now I'm like, episode was chock full of content. And I'm sorry that I doubted you. And for a moment, and a memento, was disloyal. And this episode was brilliant. I apologize. I'm going to take a lock of hair off and give it to you as an offering of how sorry I am. So, yeah.
And I'm going to replace it with the extra hair that I get when I get this done. So,
yeah. I have bags of it. It's just out of frame. Elements?
Yes, it's going to elements. Okay, so what was your That's So Atlanta?
I'm just going to say I don't have one because I already knew that it was going to probably be the nature. And I just feel like that just belongs to you. So that's yours. And I agree that it was. No, but sounds like I'm like, well, Atlanta has so many trees. And it's like, I only know that because you say it all the time and you live inside of National Geographic. And you've also been saying, like, where are all the trees? Even though before you moved to Atlanta, you'd be like, I live in New Orleans and all its trees. And now you're like, where the fuck are all the trees? Because you live in a tree now. So you're not like an arbor elitist. And I just feel like I should let you have that just because I don't want to culturally appropriate, if that's a thing for the once.
Okay, well, all right, sure. We can share these, friend. But as far as like, so that's Atlanta as far as like the physicality of Atlanta. But as far as That's So Atlanta, which we have already demonstrated time and again that Atlanta is synonymous with Black. Him calling Seal a kiss from the rose, blackest thing ever.
I love it though. I love it. I think we agreed that there was no Dariusism because there was no Darius.
Okay.
Mystical realism. Did you have one?
I did not have one. Did you have one?
Them racist ass hogs.
So they're magical racist hogs?
No, not magical, but the fact that they knew what they were doing. They were attacking. I believe that they're connected to that woman that really died. It's almost like that shopkeeper, him telling the story, like activated something. It's kind of like never speak Voldemort's name. He told that story. And you know what? Thinking about it, that man is irritated with Al. He's a racist old man, and I expected him to be racist, so he's racist. And so him doing that was like casting a spell, because right after that, he's perceived as a damn threat. So yeah, there's some mystical racist realism going on in there. That's a new element, guys.
Okay, I will give that to you based on the fact that when the pig was staring Al down, it was like, it just, yeah, it looked like the pig had like some personal history with Al. Like, yeah, I've been looking for your ass, nigga. Just like the pig looked like the dude, the crazy
like
dude.
Like the crank that, yeah, like the supposed crank that killer, yeah. Or it could be, I'm the pig that kills the niggas because I killed that bitch Christine that he just told you about. And because he talked about it, here I am. His personal beef is the fact that Al is Black and the pig is a European colonizer. And who knows? That pig could have formerly been a person who was a colonizer and something happened, he was killed and his spirit just went into them damn pigs. You never know. You never know.
Yes, because I think, as we also referenced, Jesus cast demons into the pigs and the pigs were obviously racist.
That's a descendant from there. Is that why Al was having bacon? Like, did Al have bacon defiantly? Was it kind of like, motherfucker? Yeah,
I want to claim that. Yeah, it's like, I killed you and I'm going to eat your cousin.
I like it. I like it. It's kind of like when they would chop off the person's head, then they hold up the head like, yes. Yeah. Oh my God, this episode has layers. And they are bacon flavored.
You're SGR, my dear.
When that disloyal backhoe falls on Alfred. It basically fell on him like wrestlers do when you just go, ha, it's like we're trying to tell you. And it just like, ha. It was like that kind of fall because Alfred wasn't listening.
Yeah, I'm going to say like, yeah, he gets the backhoe dropping on him. He survives that only to be attacked by a feral racist magical dog, as it were. But yeah, it was so real, him beating the shit out of him with that cast iron.
One thing you know about Al, boy, he can fight.
Yeah.
Remember when he beat up that club promoter? I love it. just like, oh, you're big.
And that is our show.
Thank you for watching. Rappin' Atlanta is recorded and produced by Nita Sharice and Nikki Ebro. Our theme music is Joy Clark's Galaxy Groove, performed by Joy Clark. Discover more about this talented artist at joyclarkmusic.com. Rappin' Atlanta's artwork is created by Prime Vice Studios. Learn more about this intellectual property development agency at primevice.com. You can find us on your favorite podcast player as well as YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and follow Rappin' Atlanta on Twitter and Instagram at Rappin' Atlanta.